But I
Hey
think
guys, this is William from
NCO4
Property
may
Buddy.
happen. That day I just gone through one article by this professor in I think Oriental Daily. He says that property there's a potential drop. Let me translate it into English. There's a potential drop of housing prices of by 70%. So it's reported on newspaper. So is this something something that you can trust? Is it a reliable source of information? So we don't want to comment too much, but let us share with you our findings and you make your own view about it. So it says that why property will drop is because of the affordability. So let's say that you have a 1 million property. If there's no people want to buy from you, chances is you have to drop the price. And if there's someone who offered you 400,000 or 300,000, based on the affordability, you have to sell that property that worth that you bought 1 million at a price of around 300,000 to 400,000. So does this make sense? Will property price drop as much as 70%? So let's see in few different areas. So the first thing that we want to see is the macro view in terms of the country GDP, in terms of the unemployment rate of the country, in terms of the income level of the population, in terms of the loan approval rate, and of course the ever bothering issue, the overhang properties, because the supply is too high, or maybe it's just due to mismatch of supply and demand. It contributes to a lot of unsold properties which subsequently became overhang. And of course we have also other views that we want to put into this perspective. In terms of the seller's view, in terms of if I own a property, when I see that kind of article, shit lah, oh shit kind of moments, you see that, wait, property, I bought it at 500,000, now you are telling me I can only sell 150,000? Fuck way. Then, in terms of the buyer's view, definitely, you see if you drop 70%, you are damn happy to say, take my money, give me 10 units, whatever you can see over the comments in various social media. So would these kind of things happen or not? Is this kind of projection or view accurate? So let's go to the next slide. In terms of GDP forecast, Malaysia will have negative 4.6 GDP. That means our country will not be doing that well this year. And then in terms of Bank Negara forecast will be somewhere around negative. So I won't comment much about why the percentage of World Bank is negative 4.6 and then Bank Negara is negative 2. Maybe Bank Negara would know how well the local market and economy gonna grow. So even if you take a negative number, what does that mean? For the past years, we have been still growing for like 4%, 5%, 4%, 5%. Only this year, we are dropping it to 0.5 to negative 2. So what does that mean? That means that the economy, the market is not growing. Chances is, when the market is not growing, chances is probably people would take a more cautious way to spend, to buy anything, to invest into new things, or to expand your business, to hire more people, to run on more projects. So that's natural. So whether price will drop, yes, definitely this contributes to a drop in price when the GDP of the countries is having a negative growth. And then second things is definitely is employment. Definitely is employment, because if you're unemployed or you have the risk of unemployment, definitely you will be more cautious about doing anything, buying a car, buying a house, and so on. And then the third area is definitely about income level. Income level, we have three categories. People may already used to it, like B40, M40, and T20. So you got to understand at different state got different income level or income group. Like for example, KL Selangor would definitely have a higher income group. they are middle 40. Middle 40 is about 8,000, 8,800. The T20 is about 20 over 1,000 per month household income. So this will also contribute to the property demand and property price. If you have higher income, definitely you can afford higher price property, right? Then the next one will be coming into loan approval rate. Why property price will go down, or why property demand will go down, or property transaction? I won't say the demand, because as you can see here, loan applied is actually increasing over the years. It has not like dropping significantly. Whereas the approval rate, that means the loan approved divided by the loan applied, is actually on the decreasing trend, from 61% drop to 39%. So when that happens, what does that mean? When you still have even though you still have demand for properties, the approval rate drop. That means people is getting harder to buy properties. So when people is getting harder to buy properties, it means the property demand will also be lower. When property demand will be lower, the supply stay the same, or even worse, when we have more supply with all the overhang unsold units, property price will definitely drop. But would it drop 70%? We will have to see. We have to go through the other slides. Okay, across the like 20, 30 years, is there any drop in price in terms of the Malaysia housing price index? There's only 2 years. There's only 2 years that we recorded a drop, which is in Asian financial crisis, 1998 and 1999. We recorded 2 years of drop, negative 9.5 and negative 2.4%. And for the rest of the year, from 1988 up to 2018, despite there are some years which has a bull run like 2011 to 2013, we have double-digit growth, and the rest could be as low as like 1%, 2%. But there's only one time that we recorded a drop, and the drop did not record something like what has been claimed in the newspaper as high as 70%. So this is the first area we look at. It is statistically not possible to have something drop negative 70% if we compare to the housing price index that we have since 1988 up to 2018. So that's another way to look at it, which is also covering, would as a investor or a property buyer or a landlord, what kind of property will drop in price? How do I understand and take a more initiative and proactive way to ensure that my property doesn't drop so much, or my property still has the value to be able to sustain, or it doesn't drop at all? So of course, this is also covered in our other sharings, the top 7 criteria. Property price will drop, but what are the properties which will be still sustained? It may not drop much, or it may just retain back at their current market value. The price is still at the market value. So of course, these 7 criteria, we will not be going down to do very detailed. We will not go down very detailed, but just a quick run through. Price, you need to ensure that you don't buy whatever it is, a sub-sale, auction, undercon. Make sure you don't buy something above market value. The best is you buy something below market value, like 10%, 20%, because you only make when you buy, not when you sell. The second thing is about unique selling proposition. Something like as an individual or business, what are the most special thing about the property that people want to stay there or rent from there? The third thing is about catalyst. Catalyst could be infrastructures or amenities, which means it could be a direct link to a shopping mall, it could be a direct link to a LRT station or an MRT station. The fourth thing would be about the target market. If the more target market that more market or more population that you can target your property to, the chances of you being able to sell and rent is also higher. The more restriction that you have, for example, your property can only do Airbnb, or your property only can do student population. There's no other types of tenants or buyer will be buying from you because you are very restricted to only one source of tenant or one source of buyer. The fifth one would be rentability. Same concept like the target market. If you buy a property that can only make sense, when you do Airbnb, that is not a good property. That is not a good property, I repeat. You have to buy something which is versatile, which is flexible, which you can target many other target market. Includes of rental, includes of own stay, includes of mass market, includes of affluent market or expats. The six things would be ensure that you buy a property that gives you good cash flow. There's no point investing into something, any product, be it a REIT, be it a unit trust, be it a property. Invest something that gives you cash flow as well. There's no point buying something that gives you negative cash flow for say 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road. You are not making money. When you have negative cash flow, that means you have a negative DSR, and it will also impact your opportunity. You have opportunity cost. You can't actually tap into any other opportunity that comes along your way if your cash flow is not in a healthy level. I wouldn't say it would. I would say that buying a property that you can have break-even cash flow or positive cash flow within like 3 to 5 years time is definitely better than buying a property that gives you negative cash flow a lot. The first thing is negative a lot, and then it takes you many years, and you may not even know whether you can have positive cash flow or break-even cash flow. Then the 7 things is about time to maturity. How long does it take for the product that you invest in to mature and give you capital gains and give you better rental and give you cash flow? For example, you buy into an area, that area is heavily dependent on the infrastructure upgrades or the major business development that gonna be bringing in more higher income group to stay there. That means you are depending on the move-in population. When it comes to move-in population, then it's not there, right? You can only restrict to the ceiling rental or the ceiling selling price that you can have at that area. So to be more proactive, you also have to be you also have to increase to be more. You also have to improve your property selection skills as well. And in this slide, just wanted to show there's a pattern in the interest rate changes. You can see the last time before the bull run, there's a pattern of like interest rate reduction for 3 times, and during 2008 to 2009, and subsequently when the market recovers, the interest hike during the time where the property bull run took place. Property price gone up by 2 double digit every year for 3 years, for 2 years consecutively, and the third year was 9.7%. So currently what we are going through is a little bit similar. We also have 3 cuts. So does that signal that there will be a boom market or a bull market coming in? By looking at the overall outlook, we don't think that the bull run or the boom run will happen that soon, because COVID-19 is gonna be there for some time. It is affecting a lot of other countries. So even Malaysia has 0 case today. Our market or our economy would not be just go up that way. We still depending on a lot of other trading partners. When they do well, then only we can do well. We can't be just isolate ourselves. We will do well without caring about other people. So looking at the chart, the property market cycle, the property market cycle in the past, currently we are here. Currently we are at this. So let's say if this cycle, so what will happen next, so that we can actually re-strategize to sustain our business, to sustain ourselves during the tough period, and what kind of opportunity that we can actually expect and foresee. If we were to put this into the future, if the market cycle in the future starting from 2020, let's say I put 2020, and based on the past crisis lessons that we learned from SARS, we learned from Asian global financial crisis, if we take it at face value, it took 1.5 years to 3 years to fully recover to the pre-crisis level. So it also suggests that we would have a time where the mid-cycle dip, or a time where the economy will stay stagnant. It doesn't shoot up fast. During that time, the market, I can compare to this. This is how COVID impact KLCI. The drop is fast, but would the rebound be fast? It doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like it. So that is why we are expecting something like between 1.5 years to 3 years for the market to recover. And during this time, we still have a very low market sentiment. People are very cautious about spending, whatever it is, spending on non-essential items, spending on investment, business expansion, hiring more staff, taking on more projects. So during this period, we could be expecting more interest cuts, maybe. We could be expecting the government to announce to roll out more stimulus or more quantitative easing, to not to actually just boost the liquidity of the market, but also to sustain and subsidize a lot of impacted business during this COVID-19. Then after like 1.5 years to 2 years, or maybe 3 years, then we will start seeing some improvement to the market. That time we could be seeing something like a political stability, because there would be a general election 15 within 2 years plus time. And then subsequently, if it's coupled with a lot of other friendlier government policies in terms of tax structure, subsidies and stimulus, so on, revival of some super mega projects, really mega projects that create a lot of job opportunity, create a lot of liquidity into the market. The market sentiment improves. That will be a very good market sentiment, and maybe couple up with some series of interest hike during that time. During that time, we might see something like a boom market in 2022 or maybe 2023 until 2025. Maybe we wouldn't know, but we just trying to understand based on the previous pattern, how do we strategize, how do we make better decision, how do we make better decision on the current issue, and what are the opportunity that we can tap into